Guys, let's start over again. Today we are doing a VOD review for Reddit user Tricities. It's split into two parts. Let's get into it. I'm really sorry about that. So if you're watching this post-production, I was talking for like 20 minutes about this and I had my sound turned off.
Yes, have a mic, that way we can combo wombo.
I have a mic here.
I have a mic.
Ulti.
I'll call it out.
Can we call ultis when we use them?
Yeah.
Alright, starting over. So, right here, you hear the reflect go off, so you don't have to bubble your Genji because he's already not going to take any damage. So you don't have to bubble him right now. You could wait a second or two for that reflect to die down and then bubble him when he'll be in more danger. But a fun fact is when you do bubble a reflecting Genji, you can still get charge from the bubble because the reflect hitbox is just inside the outer shell of the bubble, so the bubble can still take damage. Also, good barrier there. You move forward aggressively into their team, use your barrier, and you get your charge. Now you're ready to go. You're primed and ready to be an impact in this fight with 50 energy, and at this point you should only be using your projected barrier to save allies because you're already such high energy. You only need your personal shield to really push you into the 80, 90, 100 range. Good call. Good shield right there on the Lucio. If we go back, you can see the D.Va's really trying to kill him. He's playing a little forward on the point, which is fine. He's pretty low. He just heal boosted, but D.Va's really on him, so that's a good bubble right there. I mean, now you're singing, man. 100 charge. You know, you melted the D.Va. You're already at 50% all charge. And it's been like 20 seconds, so you're in a really good position. As a Zarya player, when you're at 100 energy, but you don't have either barrier, you really want to kind of play in the middle ground between hyper passive and hyper aggressive. If you're too aggressive, you'll lose your 100 charge and die, but if you're too passive, your 100 charge won't do anything. So you have to, you know, pick your windows of opportunity to go in. So obviously right here is a great window because you guys are winning this fight, and now hopefully with your charge you'll be able to win even harder. Good attempt to right click the mech, by the way. I haven't been seeing a lot of Zarya players do that. It's really good to right click a D.Va mech right as it's broken. I really like your left and right click usage here. Oops, sorry, let's go back. Get the 0 ammo reload, really important. I've been doing some reviews lately where people are reloading with like 30, 40, 50 plus ammo. You right click the Reaper, you knock him up, and looking at his health, you left click him because he's knocked up, easy to track, and then you finish him off with a right click. That's really good. And since this fight's already won, you can kind of use your barriers more frugally. You know there's an enemy in oops. You know there's an enemy in here, and the only person they're really going to shoot at is this ally. So you can use this barrier and, you know, not worry about any sort of ramifications.
I'm almost charged too. Pull back, don't get too aggressive. Don't be too aggressive. Let's just get back to the point. Get back to the point. Come back.
You probably didn't need to. Oh crap. You probably didn't need the barrier here. He's exiting the fight. I'm pretty sure that's Genji, so he can reflect. So you can probably hold that. Hopefully you don't get too punished for it, because if I was this Ryan, I would see, okay, Zarya just used her barrier, they don't have a Ryan, so I can charge someone and maybe get a kill. And they have a Zarya, so if I was the enemy of Zarya, I would say, hey, their Zarya just used your projected barrier. Ryan, you charge in, I'll barrier you, try and hit someone. Thankfully, that doesn't happen. You get your barrier back. Right here, I'm pretty sure you were trying to bury the Roadhog, which would have been really good because he's in melee range of a Reinhardt who's going to want to swing at him. So good attempted barrier. Unfortunately, the hitbox is kind of funny and gets Lucio instead.
This ran again.
Good target selection, really punishing the one out of
Zarya
position.
ult. I'm doing it right here in the middle.
Alright, let's look at the kill feed for the last little bit. Farah just died.
Good. I have Zarya ult.
By the way,
This ran again.
once you get Zarya ult, just take a quick second to hit tab and see what your team has to work with. So Farah died, so that's a huge combo that's down. So let's talk about this ult. This is a really good ultimate for 3 reasons. Number 1, the enemy Reinhardt's dead. Number 2, you can basically guarantee it's going to catch all 3 of these people. And number 3, they're all squishies. So, you know, if you ult right here, you'll draw all of them in, hopefully with your energy, which if we look, you're at 12 energy, but your barrier is coming off cooldown, so that's going to put you at about 50 energy if you play this right. And with a 50 energy Zarya versus 3 squishies should be able to make it happen. Plus your Roadhog is right behind you.
I'm doing it right here in the middle.
Although I think you kind of delayed your shot a little bit, so if we just watch it really closely, the ult happens,
I'm doing it right.
and right now you should already be looking to right click this group. You kind of like wait a second, so a quarter of the duration's already gone, because I think Graviton's 4 seconds.
No.
You missed your first right click, which is really unfortunate. Get the second one in. And then the Lucio does pop a sound barrier. So another improvement that could have been made there,
Sorry,
and this
I
isn't...
because I saw 3 of them and I could kill them myself.
Yeah, so in his comms, he's saying the right thing. I could have killed them myself, but, you know, I don't know what happened to the Roadhog or the Ana that was there. But the other thing to note is keeping track of the enemy ultimates is really important. So right before that Zarya ult, in that brief time where they just routed the enemy and they're control the point, you know, ask your Lucio, hey, what's your ult at? See what he says, and you can kind of gauge how close their Lucio is to their ultimate. He's probably closer actually, because he healed more damage since you guys did more damage and won the fight. So if you know that they have a sound barrier, you can either wait for the wombo, you know, I could ult here and probably kill them all, but they might sound barrier, or you tell your team, hey, they're going to sound barrier my Graviton, and your Roadhog that's behind you, right when you ulted, he knows this Lucio has sound barrier, and he like hooks and kills the Lucio before he can get it off, and then you clean up those 3 targets and you win the fight. But that's not on you per se. That's just, you know, something that you hope can happen in future games. All right, back to the Zarya gameplay. So you see a really weak Farah. So first of all, I'm going to commend you for not instantly bubbling anyone. You're coming back from your respawn, assessing the situation, and then you bubble the Farah. So I usually wouldn't bubble the Farah because you have both healers right here, and she's kind of like way out of the fight. Like there's like a whole wall of her, so I probably wouldn't bubble this because I think she's safe. But you do get, I think she eats the fire strike, so you do get 20 charge. You probably saved her life, so it's not the worst bubble in the world. It's pretty good. It works out there. But let's pretend you didn't get any charge and move forward. Let's hope that in the next 8 seconds you don't need that barrier for something else.
Runs down.
I can't decide if you should have chased this Reaper or not. I think he's gonna get the health pack either way, so this is good decision to not follow him, because I mean you could follow him, and maybe I would still, because you have your personal barrier. He'll probably give you the 40 energy in the 1v1, and his Wraith form is down. A 40 energy Zarya at 6 quote unquote 600 HP because you use your personal shield in that fight. A Zarya at 40 energy versus a Reaper with no Wraith form, you'd probably win unless you like really misplayed. So you could have chased that kill, but again, it's not the worst thing that you didn't. It's perfectly fine that you didn't. Good focus on the D.Va. Good right clicking on the mech, by the way, to damage the pilot. I think you did it just a little too soon. Wow, nice lucky right click on him to knock him off. I really like your left and right clicks alternation so far. So you get the nice right click there. You reload, perfect. You're sub 20 ammo. Coming back, you're trying to right click this diva to knock her in the air for the left clicking. So you missed the first on your left click. You missed the second one, which is unfortunate. That would have been really good. But you missed the I can't tell if you hit her with that third one, but if those had hit, it would have been really nice because she's taking the AoE damage, she's getting knocked in the air, a lot easier to kill. So I want to talk about your positioning right here. You have eyes on only one teammate, and you have two teammates over here. Let me change. How do I change the thickness of this line? Oh. Pen size, small. There we go. You have one teammate here, one teammate here, and one teammate here. So you only have eyes on one teammate. You're separating yourself from half your team, and now you can't help them in case an engagement happens. You're knowingly breaking line of sight with them. As a Zarya player, you really want to play with your team, so you can, provide those key barriers to, make a huge difference in a fight. So I was gonna talk about this barrier that you probably didn't need it because he's reflecting, but the reflect happens at like the exact moment that you barrier him. So hopefully you don't get punished for this barrier. Genji really shouldn't be playing too far forward, but he does have reflect. So I'm not a Genji player, so I can't really talk too much about that. So give or take, this isn't the best barrier, but it's also not the worst barrier. Thankfully, the Rhine charge misses. Alright, so right here, you pop your own barrier, but then you retreat through the door at 0 charge. Even though you're at 0 charge, you want to use your barrier to get charge. So use this personal barrier, get in this McCree's face, make him shoot you or pressure him to get your 40 energy and then back off. Like you did at the very beginning of the first video. You used that energy, walked up to Reaper, you got in his face, got your charge and got out. But here you get out before you get your charge. And by the way, so let's look at what just happened, right? So Reinhardt earth shatters these three, and you're not there to, help them. So it doesn't matter anyway because this barrier is on cooldown from helping the Genji out. But if you were playing on this side, again, this comes back to tracking ultimates. We haven't seen Earth Shatter yet. We don't have a Reinhardt, so he's going to get a really good Earth Shatter. Your team should spread out. You should probably stand near your healers so you can save them. And if you hadn't used that barrier before on Genji, which, again, it was kind of a 50-50, it was like a so-so barrier. If you still had it, you might be able to, and you were over there, you might be able to save one of them. So maybe Lucio has sound barrier. There's another thing. Lucio with sound barrier, because I think he has it. He should be over there too.
Spread out.
Thankfully, only one person's died so far to the a really good bubble on your Genji. He's running away. He's retreating. He's got no health. His reflect just died down. Save his life. It always feels bad to die with your personal barrier. Let's see. So you get it in this moment right here. After you eat a shot to the face and the concussion mine. Once I take like a bunch of damage, you can hold whatever button it is that you have to force your barrier to come up as soon as, computerly possible. And if you're at 30 energy right now, and let's say you've got this barrier off right here, because you should always be tracking your barrier cooldowns. This would put you at 70 charge versus a Junkrat with no concussion mine. This is a close battle since you're 80 HP. You might be able to win this. It's close, but it's just unfortunate you died with this barrier up.
Yeah, just group up.
Anna?
Yeah.
I'll call.
Hit tab for me. Do you guys have a wombo combo?
Group up.
And there's no tab this whole time. Come on, hit tab.
I'll call it.
Alright, are you ready? Alright, I'm ready whenever you are.
You see me? Let's go. Go.
Okay, so Farah's calling for the barrage, or for the grab. Alright.
I'll call it.
Okay, so let's talk about here. Right here, your Pharah or someone is saying they'll call the combo, whether it be Genji or Pharah. You should now be saving your projected barrier for whichever person you're comboing with.
Call it.
Alright, alright.
Because you use this barrier right here, I mean, which isn't really necessary. A Roadhog versus a D.Va, he can just drink, he'll be fine. But now when your teammate ults and you guys combo, there's no barrier for them.
You see me? Let's go. Go, 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 go.
Also, right here, oops. Right here, when there's a bunch of Junkrat spam and you use your personal shield, walk into the spam to get your energy. You kind of just use this barrier and let the grenades fly
See me?
by.
Let's go. Go, 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 go.
See, there's no bubble for that Genji. However, that's a really good barrier on your Ana. So Ryan charges out. As you can see right there, he just goes flying by. Your Ana is totally oblivious to these two enemies, so this is a really good barrier on her to give her time to react, and you get a bunch of energy from it. Hopefully, you get 30 energy from it, which is good, and you save her life.
Good shit, boys. Alright, get up front,
That's
body bomb.
perfect coordination. Good job.
It's almost perfect coordination. Alright, part 2, starting over. Alright, so right here, this is really good. You use your personal shield, you peek forward, you get your 40 energy, and you back out. That's what you want. When you're in a poke situation, this is what you want out of every personal shield. To get that 40 energy, and you get away without taking too much damage. You only took like 60 damage here if you look at the health. However, you're clearly leapfrogging, right, because you back up and then you shield your Rhine. And leapfrogging is not the worst thing to do here. Because now you're at 60 charge, you're good to go. But I think there's a better opportunity right here. Right here, look at their Reinhardt. He is standing right in front of this giant wall. I can't draw a square with the mouse, I'm sorry guys. If you told your Reinhardt, hey, I've got a barrier for you, charge in, then you can shield your Reinhardt and he can make a big play while being relatively safe with your barrier. Because now he charges in, you just heard it, he's charging in and there's no barrier. So now you have to support him in other ways. Good focus on the D.Va. Good right click on the mech. By the way, I think... Let's see this again. When the mech's breaking, conserve your ammo. Oh, I take it back. That's exactly what you did. Good job. It just kind of looked like you were still shooting. You have the timing down, you just have to work on the placement a little. This is still, it's still a really good habit to get into.
Yep, smash them. They're all in that room.
Callouts are happening. You see Zarya is shooting whoever this is. So bubble them. Okay, good bubble. Good focus. Right click punch. Is that what happened? Right click punch is a great finisher. So good good finish there. And then you know right click the Zarya down. Perfect. Nice clean team fight. Alright, so I really like this. So you're holding your barrier until you really see them shooting. So you're seeing the defense matrix, you're seeing the Rhine shield, so no need to use your self shield. Once she switches to shooting, you know, you use your personal shield and you get your energy. So that's really good barrier discipline.
Oh, anti? Wow, that was such a good name.
Good job left clicking the shield, by the way, versus right clicking. I've been in a couple of my recent VODs, people keep right clicking Rhine shield, which is not nearly as ammo efficient as to left click his shield. Good barrier on... You see the D.Va, she's near the end of her boosters, and you shield, I believe that's a healer, so that's a really good barrier there.
Nice. Oh, smash him, smash him. D.Va's left, behind you.
Good personal shield, right, you're in the midst of the fight. Alright, so you've got a barrier coming up, use it on this guy or the Zen, but I think this guy, because everyone's kind of turning their focus. Except the Zarya. Good barrier on him, perfect.
almost have Zarya ult.
Perfect melt. So
Alright, almost have Zarya ult.
I mean, it seems really obvious to, left click this Reinhardt because he's not looking at you, etc. But still, I want to commend you for, being a high charge Zarya. You pick a target and you melt them down. That is exactly what you want to do when you're high charge. You don't want to like do rapid target switching unless a more high priority target comes into play. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, let's say I'm fighting McCree, and then all of a sudden Anna, starts healing him. If I'm confident I can burst the McCree, I will. But if not, I'll just leave the McCree and go for the Anna. But the point is, you pick one target and you stick to him, and you just obliterate. This guy has a sound barrier, and you just melt through his health, which is perfect. Use this personal barrier, you get it in. You were going to finish that with a right click, which is also really good left right click discipline. You're like, oh, he's gonna get through the door, but not if I can get a right click in there. So this is really good. And most of your reloads, by the way, have been at 0 ammo. I also want to give you props for that.
Alright, I have Zarya ult for the next push. Anyone has DPS?
Perfect. Communications key. I have Zarya ult for this next push. You hit tab to see what your team has. Death Blossom just came out. Maybe Dragon Blade's coming up. Maybe Earth Shatter's coming up.
I
I don't have
just changed the
already
Genji.
used mine.
How close?
So I want these two to retreat.
I'm at 50%.
You're keeping eyes on them, which is good. You're like keeping an eye on them. Maybe they need a barrier, and you're waiting for it, which is good. That's good anticipation. Good bubble on the Genji diving in. I believe that's Genji. Yeah. Or no, it's Reaper. This is a great bubble. Someone clearly in the middle of the fight, getting all the attention. This is enabling him to do his thing and dish out a bunch of damage in close quarters. This gives you a bunch of charge. You're gonna melt this Diva mech with Discord. Right here is it. Oh, please, Graviton. I saw the Mercy fly in. Did you guys see that? I believe that was a Mercy. Yeah. You busted the mech. There's gonna be 4 enemies right here.
Doing it here.
Perfect, perfect. Oh, the Rhine showed up. That's so unfortunate. They counter grab, but you guys have a Dragon Blade to combo. This is. Who did you shield? Sorry, I'm getting kind of hypey from watching this. You're shielding your Genji that's ulting. Very good. He's ulting. He needs that 200 HP CC immune bubble is really going to enable him to maximize the effect of this Dragon Blade. Personal shield while you're in the midst of the fight. Oh, look at this. Such a good Graviton.
Shit.
That was really good. You popped the main threat to the grab, which was the Diva. You caught the Mercy in it. You have a bunch of squishy members. Genji, really luckily got his Dragon Blade right at that moment, so that was really good. And you bubbled them. I mean, that was just a great engage as a Zarya player. That was really good.
That was the best res I've ever seen. We just won the game off that res. Let's go!
Game's not over yet, Genji player.
Pushing up.
You sure about that?
Pushed up a little too far.
I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of
Transcendence,
that.
keep us here.
I like that call. Transcendence. Who says
I'm not
that?
a fan of that. I'm not a fan of
Transcendence,
that.
keep us
I
here.
like that call. Transcendence to keep us at this door. This is, I mean, nice and aggressive, and I mean, it was just really good. So, you might only be a Platinum Zarya player, but I think you did really well in this game. You had a couple barriers here and there where you could have been coordinated a bit better. For example, when your Genji was calling alt combo, but you barriered someone else. You probably want to save it for the Genji at that point. Your left and right click discipline is spot on. I mean, I basically never ever talk about aim, but I'm just gonna mention it here with you because you were so close to a couple of really good right clicks. They were just like a little bit off, especially like on that Diva when you demeched her. You missed both your right clicks. So I'm not, I don't really talk about aim, but your discipline for left clicking and right clicking is already, your decision between the two is really good. So if you just improve your aim with your right clicks a little bit, you'll see a vast improvement in your kills. Your Gravitons were really good. The one on the 3 squishies in the first video, in most circumstances you would win that. It was just kind of unfortunate that they wiped you guys. you comboed with a Genji for the second one, which is again very good. And that third one, you assess the situation. There's no diva. I saw the Mercy. You get a great grab there. Basically win the game off of that grab. It was really good. I think you have really strong Zarya play. Maybe some game sense things to work on. A couple positioning things, like you separate yourself from the team. I mean, this is only like 7 minutes of video between the two vids. But your positioning, is good, but it could be better, and that's the whole point of this. I'm not saying I'm perfect, because I'm not. I make plenty of mistakes, and we're all here to get better. So just try and stick with your team and maintain line of sight, or call them out on it. Say, hey guys, you're breaking line of sight with me. I can help you. I do that all the time in my games. When I feel like I'm in the correct position and my team is overextending or whatever, I'm saying, guys, I can't help you if you go away from me. Please come back. I think this is really strong Zarya play, and yeah, I mean this was a solid game. All right, guys, that's it for this review. Stick around. I'm gonna be doing another one. I'm just gonna take a little break. I'm getting a phone call from nature, and we'll be doing. Who's the next one? Sorry. The next review is for Reddit user iPatrickDev. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked this review or interested in watching me stream, I stream weekday mornings at twitch.tv/Canadian. Everything I do on stream is uploaded to YouTube, and feel free to subscribe to YouTube as well as follow me on Twitter for stream updates. Hope this was helpful, and thank you so much for watching.